Well, anyway, we're going to go to our first guest anyway, and this is really quite exciting. We mentioned just a bit ago who it's going to be.
Yeah. In 1965, of course, Herman's Hermits sold more records than the Beatles.
And
unbelievable.
In England, the chief hermit Peter Noone was voted more popular than Paul McCartney.
And he was a kid, not bad for a teenager, huh? Since then, Peter Noone has performed on Broadway, as I said. He's hosted his own television series, appeared on a wide variety of programs. Please welcome Peter Noone!
Thank you. How are you? How are you? Nice to see you. Thank you.
Well, I have to say, I don't know if you heard off the top of the show, but when I told my mother that you were coming, oh, she was so excited. She said, school dances, record hops.
It makes me nervous, though, now, because now when I sing Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter, I could be related.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? It's that long ago, you go, Mrs. Brown, because you don't know when you get to certain, you're singing that song and suddenly you start to say, the mother is looking pretty good, but the daughter is now 25, and that's a good age as well for women.
Speaking of ages, you were 15 years old when all of this started, when Herman's Hermits just exploded.
Yeah, I'm still 15. You know, in my head, you know, I have a problem with getting old and acting like an old person. When I'm on stage, I'm still 15.
What was it like in that era of music to be involved and to be compared with, you know, the Beatles?
Well, I never compared myself to the Beatles. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it was a very good time. I mean, for music, it was an extraordinary time because everybody was a fellow co-conspirators. You know, they were friends of mine, the Beatles, and they offered tips to assist as opposed to destroy whatever I was doing. You know, they helped us get our first deal, and, you know, we'd run into the Stones and they'd say, don't work with this promoter in Chicago and things like that. There was a kind of good feeling amongst bands in those days.
A member of our audience asked you to sign. This is an early Herman's Hermits album. You said from 1964. And you told me just before the show, this picture, in fact, was kind of a copy of a Beatles album at the time.
Exactly a copy of the Beatles. The Beatles Meet the Beatles had used the same spot there in EMI, and we said, well, let's do a picture like the Beatles. Yeah. And those, by the way, those were our best clothes.
Very nice.
Now, you've had such a fantastic career, and of course, we were talking there earlier, you know, when you first came out here, that people feel they've known you forever. I mean, you've been around in show business for well over 30 years now, and you've done everything. You were on Broadway and Pirates of Penzance. I know, it's amazing.
Over 30 years.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Pirates of Penzance. Looking back now, starting as a teen idol and as a rocker at a very tender age, has your career unfolded in a way that you could have predicted?
Well, you know, I always wanted a career that went for a long time because my dad went to Monsignor Duggan at my school and got me a year off school so I could be in the record business. Because once upon a time, a year was enough for the record business. Right. You know, you had one hit record, then you recorded. Like I would do I'm Into Something Good, and then I'd do this song called I Used to Be in Something Good, and then I'd go back to whatever job I had. And I know I didn't want to go back to school.
You had 15 hits?
I know. Well, I stayed out. I still owe them a year at that school. and I wanted something that lasted a long time. And I was very confident that I didn't want to be somebody else when I was a singer. You know, I didn't want to be like Mick Jagger and posture as like some rebellious thing. And I now, after 30 years, I suddenly, how did I remain so normal? It's because it was me. I wasn't pretending ever to be like a rebel or a musician. I never pretended to be a musician. And
but you had great personality, Peter. Well,
Robin, I have to ask you, are you a Mormon and this is your family here? It's like a Mormon family sitting over here on stage with us.
And the interesting thing is we're all related.
Really?
It's interesting, yeah. But you've got a new album, and you've re-released some of the songs that you made famous, like, well, I'm Into Something Good. Many things on this album that you recorded, I guess, 30 years ago.
It's like, what I was doing is I was doing live shows, and people would say, well, why don't we get that version of I'm Into Something Good, or that version of Henry VIII? Because the recording of I'm Henry VIII is very short. Right. Because this whole album was made in 3 hours on a Sunday. The whole album.
Music has really changed since then. Now, I'm just looking at this picture. I don't know if we can really see that, but you're very sexy. Is this a late picture? Is that...
No, well, it was taken late at night. I get better late at night.
Should I leave you two kids alone?
Actually, I need to take the covering off this before we go.
Now, was that part of it too? I mean, being the rock image, the rock star, did you have...
No, we had good songs. We were never considered to be teen idols. We didn't want that. That was Cliff Richards and people like that. I wanted... My career was based on, like, the boy next door kind of thing, who also sometimes
And your
gets
songs were very
dates.
fun, too. Henry VIII is such a fun song. I mean,
Yeah, but it's, you know, it's about, you know, people don't realize Henry VIII is really about sex.
Is it really?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
We're just about out of time. You are appearing at Meadowvale Resort.
Oh, God, we nearly forgot the most... What did I come here for?
New Year's Eve. Big
That's
night.
right.
Who else
Yes.
is on the program?
Well, I'm going to do a lot of the stuff. And
Yeah.
a guy called Sylvester, who used to be in the Hollies and was in the Escorts when I was a kid, he's going to do some songs. And it'll just be a great evening. I mean, it's something that I've been trying to do. And Toronto's a perfect place. And you don't have to drive, because we've taken over the whole hotel. So you can go to the
Stay at
show,
the
have
hotel,
dinner,
check it out.
and stay at the hotel. And then in the morning, you have to have breakfast with me. You have to have breakfast with me.
Tickets still available? Meadowvale Resort?
Yeah, I
New Year's
think
Eve?
there's still a few left.
Peter, it's a pleasure having you back on the
It's
show.
nice to see you. It's been a long
great.
time,
I
hasn't
say
it?
back on the show. You and I met a long time ago.
It's even more fun meeting you. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.